Catch past episodes of Create, Build, and Manage Daily on demand. Go to bizvod.com for details.
You need clear and accurate financial forecasts when running a business. Blaine Bertsch is the CEO and co-founder of Dryrun, an automation software that is helping save clients both time and money. Blaine, welcome to the show.
Hi, Scott. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Let's start off. What is Dryrun?
Well, Dryrun, like you said, is financial forecasting software. The big thing with Dryrun, though, is we can do so much more in a spreadsheet. So we can, of course, pull in your data from your accounting platform, and you can use it to look forward and figure out where your business is. But most importantly, the one big difference about Dryrun is we give you full control and flexibility to deal with all the complex issues and sophisticated issues that businesses run into every day.
Every day. So talk to me about the onboarding process. Is this something where Dryrun will integrate with other banking or accounting software, or is there a lot of data entry on the front end?
No, we'll connect with your accounting software and we pull in pretty much everything. We'll analyze it. We'll build a forecast. But then you can go in and adjust things. And that's where a lot of other tools drop the ball. They stop at the point where they've brought in the data, they make a graph, and they kind of say, hey, you're good to go. But then a business owner will walk in and say, I got to open another location, and they're stuck. So that's what we do really well, is we just give them that flexibility.
Blaine, where did this idea come from? Because you're one of the co-founders. I mean, it certainly is reaching a pain point a lot of business owners are facing. I'm just curious kind of what the light bulb moment was for you and your partner.
Well, the big light bulb moment for me was 2009. So I had a creative agency before Dryrun for over a decade. And when the recession hit us, I found out how important finance was. And so for me, it was first off cash flow. Do I have enough money coming in to pay payroll on Friday, to pay our rent, to do all of those key things? But then I had to start figuring out what's coming down the pipe. What kind of projects do we have? And so I started to look at our sales pipeline in a much different way and looking at the peaks and valleys and the cash flow that's going to be coming from it. Then I started to look at, well, what if? How are we going to grow? And started to model those things out all in spreadsheets, and it was quite painful. So, fast forward a number of years, sold that business and turned my attention to building something that's modern, intuitive, fast, and helps business owners with this critical task.
Website's pretty easy. It's dryrun.com, dryrun.com, spelled just like it sounds. What's the business model, Blaine? Is it a monthly fee? Do they pay for annually? Do they have an option? How does that work?
Yeah, you can pay either. If you pay annually, you get a little bit of a break on your pricing, but you can also pay month to month, which I know is great for businesses, especially if they're in a bit of a cash flow bind.
How important is it, to have this data to run a business? I mean, I say that because are you surprised how many business owners you run into that it's like they don't even look at the numbers. They just want to kind of focus over here. And you're like, how are you running your business? I mean, it just seems obvious to some of us, but to a lot of business owners, they don't even like to look at the numbers.
Yeah, it's absolutely critical. And I always talk about businesses spending too much time looking in the rearview mirror. Well, you wouldn't drive your car looking in the rearview mirror. You have to know where you're going, what's right in front of you, but also plan your longer trip and how are you going to get to the destination you're trying to get to. And what we find is earlier in the business life of a business, they spend the least time on it. And that's actually sometimes the most critical. But as a lot of our customers are multi-million dollar, they're really larger and larger businesses. They're doing this stuff every week, but it's just really time consuming, really complicated, and really difficult to communicate. So we're always telling, business owners as they're getting into business or they're in their first few years, get that discipline and get going on this now. Because as you grow, it's going to become absolutely a necessity for you.
And cash flow is king, and that's a big part of it, right? How does your software really help people manage cash flow as they're looking toward the future?
Well, one of the biggest things is we bring reality to cash flow. So a lot of our customers have big invoices floating out there. They'll have oftentimes hundreds of thousands of dollars of overdue invoices, people owing the money, and they'll have a bunch of bills on their desk. we'll pull all that data in, but then we help map it out in a more realistic way. So if someone says, hey, I can't pay you till December, you know that it adjusts your forecast and it can tell you when that cash is going to come in. But it also helps you keep track of, who you should be talking to and what did they say and things like that. So with the cash management side, it shows you where you're at, but it has very actionable things you can do to take control of that.
I mean, who do you find uses it the most? Is it the people in the accounting departments, the CFOs? Is it the CEOs that are trying to manage the business? I just think there's so many applications for this.
Yeah, well, we see all of the above, but it typically is the CEO or the CFO, oftentimes working together, that's because that's really where the rubber hits the road with the CEO, with that C-suite on moving the business forward. So that's definitely who we see use it the most. But they can also circle in some of their team to be able to deal with some of those aged receivables, and it's very collaborative in that way.
And does it help you also prepare for those board meetings? Speaking to someone as a CEO myself, because I would think as you're trying to forecast and then you got to present to the board, it seems to me Dryrun would help you with that.
Oh, it absolutely does. And some of the things that we're kind of most excited about is how we can actually help them model things out on the fly. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, here's the graph from last Monday, here's where we were. It can be, at times we've seen our customers literally in those C-suite meetings model things out and talk about things on the fly, because you can actually build that in. And that just makes it so much more effective. You're not always playing a week behind.
Wow, and how smart do you look sitting in the boardroom saying, oh, that's a great question. Let me pop this in here and show you what that model would look like. So what's next for Dryrun? What do you see happening for your company?
Well, in a time like this, the economy is struggling. There's a lot of really odd things happening out there for small business and for medium-sized businesses. We just want to help more and more businesses leave those spreadsheets behind, leave those hours and complicated issues, broken equations, leave it all behind, and have something that's up to date, that's accurate, that can help their business truly move forward, get past this and start growing again.
Blaine, I got to tell you, there's a lot of business owners that watch this show each and every night that they're no doubt going to check you out. The website again is dryrun.com, dryrun.com. And if you've managed a business before, even if you've just managed a department and you've been asked to do some sales forecasting, you know how tedious and time consuming it is. As we often talk about, spend your time on revenue producing activities. This software helps you do that. Stick around. This is Create, Build, and Manage Daily.